all the wins that week, and even the match against Jessica was such important moment in my life. Yeah.
Yeah, sure. This went viral. This moment that you had afterwards, where obviously you'd lost to Jessica, but you know, I was watching this on TV and I thought, wow, this is amazing. I mean, obviously, hopefully you can have more of this, but again, what do you remember about this few minutes after you'd lost to Jessica?
This was such a sweet moment for me. Let me tell you, I'm definitely not normally like this when I lose.
No.
But this was definitely a special circumstance. I remember the last couple of match points, I was able to save a match point, you know.
Yeah.
And I just tried to prolong the match as long as I could because I knew that this is where I wanted to be. And then after I sat down, after the handshake, I looked up and there's so many flags of the Philippines and so many Filipinos. It was past midnight. They were there to stay. And I had just had the best run of my career so far. So there was so much to be happy about in that.
What was supposed to be a coronation has turned into a nerve-wracking cliffhanger that has left millions of fans around the globe in agonizing suspense. In a dramatic turn of events that no one saw coming, the highly anticipated Mubadala DC Open women's final between the Philippines' rising superstar Alexandra Eala and America's world number 3, Jessica Pegula, has been shockingly suspended. But this is not just any rain delay. This is a moment of pure, unfiltered drama that has reshaped the entire narrative of the tournament. Mother Nature unleashed her fury on Washington, D.C., bringing relentless rain and dangerous lightning to the Rock Creek Park Tennis Center, forcing officials to make the gut-wrenching decision to halt play not once, but twice. The match, which was already delayed by 3 hours, finally began, only to be cruelly snatched away from us just as the battle was intensifying. Pegula had drawn first blood, taking the opening set 6-4, but Eala, the fearless 21-year-old, was fighting back fiercely, leading 2-1 in the second set when the skies opened up. Now, with the championship hanging in the balance, the whole tennis world is asking one question: can Eala complete the fairy tale, or will Pegula close out the legend? The wait is excruciating, and the tension is at an all-time high. Let's break down the chaos, the stakes, and what this unprecedented suspension means for both of these gladiators. The scene in Washington, D.C. was set for a blockbuster finale. The excitement was palpable, the stadium was packed, and the world was watching. But by noon local time on Sunday, August 2nd, it was clear that nature had other plans. Severe stormy weather descended upon the U.S. Capitol, bringing with it torrential downpours and dangerous lightning strikes that posed an immediate threat to the players and the thousands of fans gathered at the Rock Creek Park Tennis Center. The decision to delay the final was not just a matter of convenience, it was a matter of safety. Tournament officials had no choice but to announce a suspension, pushing back the start time for the championship match by a full 3 hours. This was the opening act of a frustrating saga that would test the patience of everyone involved. As the hours ticked by, the tension began to build. Players, fans, and the organizing committee were locked in a tense waiting game, refreshing weather apps and scanning the skies for any sign of improvement. This wasn't a minor drizzle. This was a full-blown weather system that had parked itself over the District of Columbia. The wait was agonizing, especially for two competitors who had fought so hard to reach this pinnacle. For Alex Eala, the delay added to the mental burden of playing in her second career final. For Jessica Pegula, the delay meant having to maintain her razor-sharp focus while waiting to capture her second Washington title. Finally, after what felt like an eternity, the rain began to subside just enough for the ground's crew to race onto the court and make it playable. At approximately 3 p.m. local time, the players finally stepped onto the court. The crowd erupted in cheers, relieved that the action was finally underway. But the relief was short-lived. The relief, however, was tragically short-lived. For exactly 57 minutes, the tennis world was treated to high-octane drama. Just as the match was hitting its stride, with Eala finding her rhythm and the momentum shifting, the worst possible thing happened. The rain returned, heavier than before, accompanied by a terrifying display of lightning in the immediate vicinity. The officials had no choice but to implement an immediate evacuation. The players were rushed off the court, and the facility was cleared as a safety precaution. It was a devastating blow to the rhythm of the match and the patience of the spectators. This wasn't just a delay anymore, it was a crisis. The weather patterns remained persistently uncooperative into the evening, and after several hours of waiting, the tournament finally made the heartbreaking announcement that play was suspended for the rest of the day. The match would have to resume on Monday, August 3rd. A tournament that had witnessed so much greatness was now left in limbo, with a legendary finale waiting to be decided. The fact that the match was suspended is dramatic in itself, but the state of the match is what makes this story truly gripping. After a 3-hour delay, Jessica Pegula and Eala finally walked onto the court, and the American number 3 wasted no time in asserting her dominance. Pegula, a seasoned veteran and a US Open finalist, used her experience to immediately pressure the young Filipina. She played with surgical precision, using her powerful ground strokes to force Eala into difficult positions and capitalizing on any moment of weakness. The first set was a masterclass in efficiency from Pegula. She managed to secure a pivotal break in the 9th game, taking a 5-4 lead. This was the crucial turning point. Pegula then held her serve with remarkable composure, closing out the first set 6-4 in just 40 minutes. The statistics were telling. Pegula converted 2 of 3 break points, while the pressure seemed to weigh heavily on Eala, who had been visibly frustrated by her own unforced errors. The set was a harsh reminder of the gap in experience between a world number 3 and a player just breaking into the top 30. However, champions are defined by their resilience, and Eala proved that she belongs on the stage. Despite the setback of losing the first set, the young Filipino star refused to let her head drop. In a stunning display of mental fortitude, Eala came out swinging in the second set. She was striking the ball with more conviction, her left-handed patterns were causing Pegula more problems, and she was finally holding her serve with authority. She won 80% of her first serve points, a statistic that shows she was starting to find her range and take control of the points. The momentum began to shift. Eala held her opening 2 service games, edging ahead to take a 2-1 lead in the second set. This was the moment the crowd had been waiting for. The underdog was roaring back. She had just broken a deuce to take the lead, and the energy in the stadium was electric. At that precise moment, with Eala serving and the momentum firmly on her side, disaster struck. The rain returned with a vengeance, and a lightning strike in the vicinity forced an immediate halt to the proceedings. The suspension came at the absolute worst time for Eala, who had just seized the initiative. It allowed Pegula, who had been reeling, to reset her strategy and regroup. The weather didn't just interrupt the match, it actively changed the trajectory of the momentum. The resumption on Monday will be a test of who can better recapture their rhythm and handle the pressure of a winner-take-all conclusion. The reason the whole tennis world is waiting so anxiously is because of the immense stakes involved for both players. For Jessica Pegula, this was supposed to be a homecoming celebration. The 2024 US Open finalist was aiming to win the Washington title for the second time, having lifted her first WTA trophy at this very tournament 7 years ago. For the 32-year-old American, winning here would solidify her status as the undisputed top player in the world, cementing her legacy with a 12th career singles title. The win would also serve as the perfect springboard heading into the US Open, sending a clear message to the rest of the WTA Tour that she is the woman to beat. The pressure on Pegula is immense, not just to win, but to win in a manner that justifies her status as the favorite. The suspension was a disruption to her rhythm, and she will need to use her vast experience to finish the job without letting the long break affect her focus. On the other side, we have the phenom Eala. The 21-year-old Filipina tennis star is chasing a moment of history. She is not just playing for a trophy, she is playing for an entire nation. Eala is seeking her maiden WTA singles title, a feat that would make her the first Filipino to achieve such a milestone in the Open era. Her run to the final in Washington has been nothing short of sensational. The world number 28 has already knocked out a murderer's row of tennis legends to get to this point. Her scalps in this tournament include Olympic gold medalist Zheng Qinwen, defending champion Leylah Fernandez, world number 10 Alina Svitolina, and the legendary four-time Grand Slam champion Naomi Osaka. This achievement alone marks her as one of the most dangerous players on the tour right now. A victory over Jessica Pegula in the final would be the crowning jewel of an already career-defining year. It would not only catapult her further up the world rankings, potentially into the top 25, but it would also announce to the world that a new superpower has arrived in the women's game. The suspension has added a new layer of drama to this storyline. For Eala, the delay could be a blessing or a curse. On one hand, she might be able to cool down her nerves and analyze her strategy to better handle Pegula's serve. On the other hand, she may have lost the momentum she was building late in the second set. The clock is ticking, and when they return to the court, the legacy of both players will be shaped in a matter of minutes. The entire Philippines will be praying for a miracle while American fans are nervously hoping their star can close it out. Chapter number 4. The Road to Resumption. What happens next? The decision to suspend the final until Monday, August 3rd, has created a logistical and emotional nightmare for the tournament. Officials had to carefully coordinate the rescheduling, working around the remaining threats of inclement weather. The match, which originally started around 3 p.m. local time on Sunday, was officially moved to a 12 p.m. noon local time start on Monday. This, of course, translates to midnight Monday in the Philippines, meaning Filipino fans will be staying up late into the night to witness the culmination of this epic battle. The logistics behind the scenes are a major challenge. The grounds crew faced an enormous task in repairing the court and preparing it for play after hours of heavy rain. The infrastructure around the Rock Creek Park Tennis Center had to be inspected to ensure safety. Furthermore, the tournament schedule for the men's final, which features other top stars, was also pushed back, creating a jam-packed, must-watch Monday of tennis. The organizers are under immense scrutiny to get this right, as a significant television audience and thousands of ticketed fans are waiting for a conclusion. For the players, the road to resumption is a mental and physical battle of its own. Jessica Pegula, who has been on the tour for over a decade, knows that such disruptions are part of the game. But the psychological impact of losing a lead to a young gun is something she cannot afford to dwell on. She will need to focus on recapturing that dominant serve that she displayed in the first set. Eala, on the other hand, will need to tap into the energy and support of her Filipino fanbase to overcome the fatigue and stress of the long delay. The 21-year-old has proven she has the game to beat the best in the world, but now she must prove she has the mental endurance to finish the job. Both players spent the night preparing, watching film, and visualizing their strategies to come out on top in this unfinished business. The court is set, the tension is palpable, and the world is ready for the final chapter.